A Cinderella story is brewing in the Little League World Series. Welcome back to Grand Park, Westfield, Indiana, for a matchup today in the Midwest between Cherokee, Kansas, and Kearney, Nebraska. In the Midwest, any team that doesn't have 2 losses is still very much alive. We already know some of the teams are progressing in the regional action semifinals tomorrow. That's Sioux Falls and Webb City, while fighting it out as we speak, Cherokee, Kansas, and Kearney, Nebraska. Jim Barber, John Gregory, welcome back to ESPN coverage of the Little League World Series. Cherokee, Kansas is a town of less than 1,000 kids. And in fact, in picking the All-Star team, only 19 All-Stars available for this traveling team of 10. This is indeed a Cinderella story. But the question is, does it have enough firepower to stay alive in this tournament?
Well, they're going to have that firepower today if they want to stay alive in this thing after 1 loss. And Cade Burdett, the starter on the mound today, he's going to have to be the guy that gets it done for them. You can see that 1 2/3 innings the other day with 5 base on balls. He's better than that state tournament. 69 pitches, 45 strikes, had 11 strikeouts and just 2 base on balls. So he has the ability to do it.
John, he'll get a chance to match up against Nolan Smith, who's had a great tournament for Nebraska. Nebraska's played in 2 consecutive days, and both days Smith has knocked in runs.
Yeah, you can see his numbers there, 2 for 5 in this regional with 3 RBIs, and he is an emotional guy. Nolan Smith, kind of a leader on this team, and look at him banging on the chest. You like to see the excitement and the emotion of these little leaguers.
This is yet another elimination game. The winner moves on to face Iowa on Thursday, and the loser, its season will be over. Starting lineups at first pitch from the city just 20 miles north of Indianapolis. This is game 3 of the Midwest Regional for Nebraska for Cherokee, Kansas, playing in just its 2nd game. Reese Bober draws the starting assignment for Kearney, Nebraska. Bober's got good velocity on his fastball, John, but he can also fire in a couple other pitches when needed.
Yep, that's right. Fastball, changeup, and called him an athlete on the mound. They want him out there today. 3 ineligible pitchers for this Nebraska team today, so they can go about 7 or 8 deep is what we're told on the pitching staff, but they're going to rely on Bober today to see how far he can take them.
Bober will face a Kansas lineup that put together just 1 hit in its loss to South Dakota 9-0 back on Sunday. Easton Wren will lead off, then Drake Guyman. The coach's son, Cade Burdett, bats 3rd. Cooper Hamlin will clean up. Matthew Messer in the 5 spot, then Wyatt Scales, Colby Lovell, Blake Logan, and Quentin Lunsford. And Burdett was the only one to get a hit in that 9-0 defeat. Ready to go here just moments after 4 o'clock Eastern time. And for those folks watching in the Midwest, it is just barely past 3. Easton Wren 0 for 2, a fly out and a ground out. Got a walk in the 6th inning of that game on Sunday. Good favorite song, don't you think? All I do is win.
Love it. Good motto. Something to live by, right?
Yeah. Manager Brock Burdett, who is coaching at 3rd base, was sharing with us before the game. We got plenty of kids that are available to play Little League. But the problem in a small town is that on occasion parents will ask their kids or tell their kids you can play just one sport. And if a kid chooses to play football, and Burdett's also been a football coach, that eliminates opportunities to play Little League.
I was kind of shocked when he was talking about it. 3 Little League teams is what he was saying in the state. So not a lot to choose from. Just 14 or 19 total kids to choose from to be able to come here and play in the regionals. And that's a big task, trying to choose 19. I thought South Dakota was limited in their numbers. You're talking 44. Kansas even less than that.
Yeah. Brock's brother Brian was part of the Kansas team that made it a few years back to the northeast side location for the Midwest Regional. And son Cole was there in 2011. Down the third baseline, fair ball. Good start for Cherokee. Ran around first, now into second with a stand-up double. Just one hit the entire game on Sunday. One hit from the leadoff hitter today.
Lefty just drills that down the left field line. It gets past the outfielder Etherton out there all the way to the wall, and an easy double to start this ball game for Wren, standing at second base, and a good start for Kansas.
Drake Guyman now to the plate, and he's the center fielder. Wears the lucky 13 on his jersey. Showing bunt, taking a strike. 0-1. Earlier today, the Midwest Regional, a pitcher's duel to the 6th inning when Iowa scored twice to eliminate Minnesota. Saw the Minnesota players and coaches after the game, John, and told them I thought you deserved a better fate. And they would agree.
Yeah, that's a tough out for them. I mean, those are, sometimes you get the bad end of the draw, and they certainly did with the pitchers they had to face.
All in a span of, 18 hours or so, lost in the last inning to South Dakota 2-1 on a walk-off, and then lost today in the final inning 2-0. 2 strikes and nothing on Guyman. Wren in your picture at second base. 1 out. Here comes the manager's son, Cade Burdett. 1 for 2 in the 9-0 defeat a couple days ago. Now, Cade was privately hoping for Missouri to lose to Nebraska. And his reason, as he explained to his dad, is, look, I play in their traveling team. His Webb City's only about a half hour from the location in Kearney, Nebraska, and I know all the signals. So I would have had them dialed in. Not to be, Missouri's in position to get to the championship game, as it already has advanced to tomorrow's game in the winners round. And that Missouri team will be up against it versus South Dakota.
Coach Burdett also said that's part of his son does play on that travel team, and that's the other thing that takes away from some of the little leaguers, some of that travel time and travel league.
Up the middle, headed to center field. It's going to score the first run of the game. 1-0 Kansas.
Here's the location, down in the middle, right over the center of the plate, and he just beats it into the ground. Good hitter's ballpark, nice and hard out front of home plate there, and that ball just bounds through the middle and picks up an RBI. Early run for Kansas in the game.
After being shut out in just a single hit on Sunday. A run and 2 hits and a man on first with 1 out in the first already. Hamlin's favorite athlete continues to, well, it mystifies me, but
well, you know,
I think it's terrific.
Why change if that was his favorite a couple days ago? Why wouldn't it be today?
I'm sure he considered a lot of other options.
There were many choices.
Hamlin ahead of the count, 2 balls, no strikes. Matthew Messer, the left field, bats next. 2-1. Jordan Leslie is the home plate umpire. Ryan Hollowell at first base. Andrew Kelly second. Nick Boylan at third. They all are volunteering their time, as are all umpires in this Little League World Series, to be part of something very special. John, you've taken opportunities on a number of occasions to thank them for their work. And I know it's sincere. At first, I thought maybe you were just buttering them up like you used to in the minors.
Yeah, maybe it's just habit. I don't know what it is. But honestly, they do a tremendous job. And all of the close calls and the bang-bang plays, and they are getting them right.
Legend has it that when George Brett played a number of great years with the Kansas City Royals at the third base spot, when he was on defense, he would idle over to the third base ump and say, look, don't tell anybody, but you're my favorite umpire.
You know what? And there was plenty of time to do that when I was playing first base, too.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
Standing by him all day. You have to have a good conversation. You got to know him a little bit more than some of the other players.
Hamlin out on strikes, 2 outs and 2 strikeouts in the inning. And another look.
Bober with a fastball. Nice location. Nolan Smith, the catcher behind the plate, giving him a good target to hit.
That leads us to Matthew Messer. Messer in a substitute role struck out. Had back-to-back well-pitched games in this tournament. Last night, 2-1 South Dakota over Minnesota. Today, 2-0 Iowa over Minnesota.
Good look at Messer. And we're talking about his personality, how he keeps everybody loose. Just a great teammate to be a part of. Like to have those guys on the team. You always need those guys that can keep things light.
Mark Scales is the first base coach. Bench coach is Clifford Wren. For Cherokee, Kansas, the Kansas state champion representatives. One-two from Bober. He strikes out the side in the top of the first. Kansas gets a run on 2 hits and leads Nebraska 1-0 as we get to Bober and company in the bottom of the inning. Cade Burdett will pitch today for Kansas. Burdett is the son of manager Brock Burdett. Asked Brock prior to the game, what's he need to do today? He said, well, he needs to pitch well or otherwise he's hitchhiking home.
Yeah, long walk there, isn't it?
Dan Halen's his favorite group. How about him on the mound and his presence there, John?
Yeah, 5'2", 107 pounds, fastball, knuckleball, curveball. You also asked Coach, how'd he learn the knuckleball? He said, well, internet. Right?
Yeah, we can learn a lot of things. And most of them are true.
He said he's changed it a couple times.
This is Nebraska's hitting lineup. Reese Bober, one of their better table setters. Then Braden Anderson, Nolan Smith with the 3 runs batted in. Brooks Paul bats 4th. Easton Etherington 5th. Scout Simmons 6th. Bo Knapp 7th. Ty Renninger 8th. And Luke Wegner, who has seen some pitching activity in this tournament, playing in center field and batting 9th. Bober took a call, 3rd strike at the end of the Nebraska game with the bases loaded. And the loss 4-2. As you know, he's an outstanding hitter. He already has 3 hits in this tournament in 6 at-bats. And I asked skipper Sean Etherington, was he surprised? He said, well, you know, the ball may have been a little bit high. But the fact of the matter is, in that type of situation, maybe you get the call earlier in the count, not likely later.
Sometimes you're looking for something and you just get frozen on it, and that was the case there. But Coach Etherton, his son, everybody on this team, you know, they understand situations. This entire team rally around you, and you come back and you play the next day.
And then next day, here's mid-afternoon here in Westfield. This is an elimination game. The winner will move on to Thursday to face Iowa. The loser will have its season come to an end. Bober has a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes, and here's Burdett to third base. Man aboard, nobody out. Scales has trouble with the ground ball hit right at him.
Yeah, you probably have to score this in error. That wasn't even necessarily a bad hop. It was just hit pretty hard to Scales and not able to come up with it.
Here's Braden Anderson. In the win over Iowa, Anderson was 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts. In the loss to Missouri, he was 0 for 2 and scored a run. Nolan Smith would be next. Jim Barber with John Gregory. Part of Marathon Baseball here, 14 games in a matter of 3.5 days. And then on to ESPN's coverage of the semifinals and finals of both the Midwest and Great Lakes regions toward the end of the week. A ball and 2 strikes on Anderson.
This is our third look at this Nebraska team, and thinking back to Braden Anderson making that start in that first ball game, he struck out 8 of 9 guys in that. Hit the first couple batters, rough start, but better start for him here in his first at bat today.
On the base hit, runners move to second and third with nobody out. Anderson gets credit for a single. He's at second, Reese Bober at third for Nolan Smith.
Good looking swing, opposite field. Bober makes it into third base pretty easily, and Anderson smart. He was watching the throw. As soon as it left the hand of the outfielder, he decided he was going to take second base.
Seen a lot of aggressive base running here. Sometimes with a runner at first and third situation, where the defensive team will concede that stolen base. But often other times when the ball is hit deep into the outfield, that's a chance to extend your position.
One thing Ohio does.
Nolan Smith to center field. It's going back. It is gone. 3-1. Kearney, Nebraska. 3 more RBIs for the number 3 hitter in the Nebraska lineup.
Well, he had 3 coming into the ball game. He just doubled that with a 3-run home run, and now he's hitting 500 in the regional. Now he's 3 for 6, and the smile continues for the big guy as he takes a hack at a high fastball and just delivers it out over the left center field fence. That was up around the chest neck area, and he went after it.
So Nebraska counters Kansas' run with 3 of its own. Playing for the 3rd time in 3 days. Beat Iowa 3-2, lost to Missouri 4-2, up 3-1 in this one. Brooks Paul, 1 for 6, has scored a run.
You know, you call him Brooks Paul. Yesterday I called him Brooks Moore out there. So I talked to him before the ball game. I'm a fellow first baseman. I've got to get that right.
I thought that was his nickname.
Yeah.
Brooks out on strikes, 1 out. Easton Etherington, the skipper's son, batting next. Winners bracket activity tomorrow. South Dakota and Missouri in the Midwest, Ohio and Illinois in the Great Lakes. Two outs.
Burdett feeling a little confident now. He's firing, getting the ball back on the mound. Fastball, that one riding in to the big righty.
Number 6 hitter in the Nebraska lineup is the 3rd baseman, Scout Simmons.
Nebraska team needs to be patient at the plate. Burdett getting some strikeouts, but they're up around the chest area.
Simmons 0 for 2 in the region with a walk. Two balls, 1 strike. 3-1 in favor of Nebraska. Nolan Smith's 3-run homer to center field. Later tonight, we switch regions. To the Great Lakes, we'll go Indiana versus Michigan. First walk of the inning. It continues for Kearney. Bo Knapp, the right fielder. 25 pitches for Burdett here in the first inning. Bonap 1 for 2 to third base. Out at second on the force, inning over. Nolan Smith continues to wave the hot bat. After one, it's Nebraska 3 and Kansas 1. And for Kansas, bottom of the order coming up in the second. If you would like to play Little League or volunteer in your local community, we invite you to visit playlittleleague.org. Enter your address to find a Little League program near you. Active first inning. Kansas scores once. Nebraska answers with 3. We go to the top of the second. Wyatt Scales, Kelby, Lovell, and Blake Logan set to hit. Reese Bober, despite giving up 2 hits and a run in the first inning, did strike out the side and threw 22 pitches. It's always interesting how many starting pitchers like to work from the stretch as opposed to the windup. 4th strikeout of the game now for Reese Bober.
Bober dealing that time. And take the bat off the shoulder. He was just watching as Bober firing fastballs in there, not messing around.
All 4 strikeouts, interestingly enough, John, have been looking. Here's Colby. 2 outs. Good play by Reese Bober, a reaction play. Stuffed that one away.
Have to field your position, be ready all the time with that follow through. Bober sticks the glove out. Sometimes you got to be honest. You just get lucky. You react, you throw the glove out there, and hey, look what I found.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Not him. He knew what he was doing.
But you.
Oh, yeah. Throw it out there.
Blake Logan.
Look what I came up with.
Sure. Logan 0 for 2 in the Midwest Regional. 11 years of age, one of the few here. Yet to reach 12. This tournament position in such a way today in which the Great Lakes had a game early, then 2 Midwest games, followed by a Great Lakes game. Reason for that is to put Indiana in the prime spot tonight. Strikeout number 5. 5 in a row have been retired. Side retired in order in the inning. Nebraska 3, Kansas 1. That's part of the Circle, downtown Indianapolis, state capital of Indiana, located 20 miles south of Westfield, Indiana. State Fair is in full swing right now. Started on Friday, will last a little more than 2 weeks.
Did you get all your deep fried food?
You mean like those fried Twinkies and fried Snickers?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
No.
You just haven't been there yet, right?
Corn on the cob's good, though.
Yeah.
Pork sandwich.
Gets crowded around your neighborhood this time of year when they have that fair, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Ty Redinger leading off the bottom of the second. Fun to go there at night, particularly when the Ferris wheel's going.
Mm-hmm.
Great scenic. Base hit center field. third Nebraska hit of the game. To the center fielder, batting in the ninth spot now, Luke Wagner.
Swinging the bats a little better today. Kearney, Nebraska. 7 of the last 8 years this Kearney, Nebraska team has been representing.
Out in front of home plate, Burdett, quick throw, first base, well done. That'll be a sacrifice for Luke Wagner. Running around to second, back to the top of the order, and Reese Bober.
Good job, Wagner. That's the first kid that we've seen lay a bunt down like that for a sacrifice in this regional so far. We've seen a couple attempts, but Mr. Luke Wagner with a great job of getting the guy over and a little excited about it too. Gave his coach a little high five as he came over to the dugout. That's moving a guy around.
That's National League Baseball, right?
There you go. I like it.
Reese Bober reached on an error in the first and came around to score. Going the opposite way, this one will go foul. Weather has just gotten better every day. Overcast and cloudy almost all the day on Monday or Sunday prior to Indiana and Kentucky. Monday the sun was out most of the day. Tuesday it's been all sun. Ball in the dirt, a runner down to third on the drop third, Bober to first. So Reese Bober is officially 0 for 2, reaching on an error and striking out, but he's got a chance to come around and score for the second time.
The Nebraska shortstop, number 10,
Braden Anderson batting in the 2 spot. Shortstop, 1 for 6. Got a hit, scored a run in the first. Taking their whacks up there, John. They're coming up. Ready to try to make something happen.
Part of the lineup that already has 3 on the board. So these guys at the top part have been the ones that have been setting the table and getting some runs in here.
Popped up and heading toward right field. Got to battle the sun out there. Lunsford able to do that. Going to go as a sacrifice. Flying on the same play, Bober sliding into second. So Anderson gets the job done. It is now 4-1 at Nebraska. So a couple of sacrifices in the inning. 1 on a bunt, 1 on a fly ball. Produces another Nebraska run.
And that's why you bunt him over, to get him in a position to score, and a pass ball gets him over to third base, and fly ball to the outfield. That's doing your job. That's teamwork.
Here comes Nolan Smith trying to bring in the next man. Dropped it short. Throw to first is in time. Good recovery by E. Wren. Inning over. Nebraska gets a run and a hit and leaves a man. It's Nebraska leading Kansas 4-1 after 2. Could be a challenge on this play. So hold everything.
in the home half of the second inning for Nebraska. 1 run on 1 hit. 1 runner left on.
No challenge, so time for us to step away. To the 3rd inning, bottom of the Kansas order we go. Little League would like to thank the dedicated volunteers who make the program a special experience for millions of children. And in fact, you and I run into a lot of these same volunteers we've seen over the years, friendly folk.
Leading off.
Always a smiling face, regardless. In between games, you walk out there, everybody volunteering. It's good morning, how you doing? Everybody willing to help out.
Quentin Lunsford to lead off. Hits sharply foul. Yes, imagine the time they put in here.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of those volunteers don't have any children. They're just volunteering their time. A lot of coaches, of course, are coaching because their kids are part of it. And there's certainly coaches out there that are doing it and have no child still in the game.
Comebacker into center field, base hit. Hit sharply off the pitcher's glove. And Quentin Lunsford is on with his first hit to start the top of the 3rd. Hit it sharply up the box.
Back around to the top.
Mentioned what great shape these fields are a couple times now. Said I like to hit on this type of field. Nice hard surface out in front of home plate. Couple balls that we've hit straight into the ground have been able to get their way through the middle in a hurry.
Almost like a turf type feeling out there, huh?
Good hitter's park. Pitchers don't want to hear that.
No, we've seen a few home runs here today, too.
Yeah.
Nolan Smith in this game has already homered for Nebraska, 2 on. Wind continues to blow up, but not very dramatic in nature. Off the change. And Easton Wren ahead of it. 2 strikes, no balls, nobody out, and top of the 3rd. Elimination game today between Kansas and Nebraska. Drake Guyman would bat next, then Cade Burdett, if we get that far. Wren led off the game with a 2-base hit, came around to score, and at that time gave Kansas an early 1-0 lead. Actually plated the first Kansas run since Cherokee's Little League team arrived here. Wren, obviously left-handed swinger, got good speed. So on a ground ball, particularly if he goes the other way, he's got a chance to leg it out.
Yeah, and I like his aggressiveness up at the plate, too. He's choked up now. 2 strikes on him.
Waits on that changeup out of the zone 2-2.
Good balance up there. He's not a guy that steps back deep in the box. He's up there closer to the point on the plate, and now he backs up.
Headed towards short. To second for 1, and that's all they'll get. 1 out.
No chance to get him down the first base line. He was speeding down the line that time, but you have a 4-1 lead. Make sure you do the right thing. Get that first out. Nebraska doing a good job defensively, playing it by the book.
For Kansas, center fielder, number 13, Drake Guyman.
Here's the center fielder, Drake Guyman, who struck out back in the first. 0 for 4 in the Midwest Regional. This Cherokee Kansas team playing in a field that has bigger dimensions than what they see in the state. And it takes a bigger of a poke here to knock it out of the park. A bunt right in front of the pitcher. And on the throw to short, shortstop was not on the bag. They may protest this, though. Anderson made the catch. Had to go up in the air with it. Got dislodged as the runner was coming in.
Now they're definitely going to take a look at this, but the ball certainly beat the runner to second base. The question is, did Anderson, in trying to avoid the slide that was coming into second base, did he jump? Didn't have his foot on the bag before the slide came in.
No interference ruled on Easton Wren, so the challenge here is to find out, as the call on the field is safe, how the shortstop was affected. Let's see. Think he took his foot off the bag as he caught the ball?
Tough. I mean, the ball clearly beat him there. That's not the question. That's probably our best angle right there. It may have pulled that foot off a little bit early, and let's see.
I'd say Kansas has got a legitimate challenge here. Don't know if the Cherokee Little League team gets the call. And in fact, that call is verified at second base. Second base umpire is Andrew Kelly. And Jordan Leslie, the home plate umpire, checking with replay, has it confirmed.
For Kansas, the pitcher, number 6, Cade
Runners down first and second with one out.
And here's an interesting situation with Kansas. Burdett at the plate, a guy that's pretty active there. He can make some things happen. Got a single and an RBI today. He's the one guy you want up in this situation. And for Nebraska, the first kind of mental mistake right there. That's not necessarily a physical mistake. He did what he needed to do. He just kind of pulled his foot off the bag a bit too early.
Official ruling on the play was a sacrifice bunt and a throwing error on the pitcher, Reese Bober. Double play ball to short. Inning over. This time it works. Kansas starts the inning with a base hit, fails to score. And now we're going to have yet another challenge. See if Burdett was able to beat the throw after the force out at second base.
Well, it becomes a habit, I think, as far as challenging go. Every time there's a bang, bang play now, you're going to have a review on it. Nice play here, turnover. Safe.
Yeah.
So it looks like maybe this one's going to be overturned as well. But again, we're seeing, we need to take 3 looks at it to make sure that we're getting it correct. And that umpire make that decision. Major League umpire is going to miss this one. That's a really good look at it there. And in my opinion, it looks like the foot hit the bag before the ball hit the glove.
I would concur. So yet another delay. And now here comes the ruling. Spot on, John. So 2 replay rulings, both against Nebraska. Since Brock Burdett has been successful with the challenges on those 2 occasions, I would think the coaches in the NFL would be getting a hold of his phone number. Toward right field, ball is carrying. Against the fence. 1 run is already scored. Runner around second, heading into third. Sliding in with a triple, and Kansas back in business. It's now 4-3. Well, the beauty of replay, huh?
That replay right there just gave Kansas a little bit more life, and that's all they needed as he takes it off the wall to deep right field. That's the first time we've seen a ball hit down the right field line like this. And this thing was carrying into the wind because that wind's coming from right field to left field.
Matthew Messer to the play with a tying run now at third. Well, in this inning, Kansas has gotten new life twice. It's like a 5-out inning.
Well, you have to take advantage of that. We've seen some overturned calls to keep an inning alive, but never has anybody been able to take advantage of it until this Kansas team has done it this inning.
So Messer, 0 for 2 in the regional, has a chance to pull them even. Kansas got 1 in the first, now 2 in the third. Nebraska got 3 in the first, and 1 in the second. In the Nebraska third, middle of the lineup, Brooks Paul, Easton, Etherington, and after Easton, Scout Simmons. Reese Bober stretches and throws. 2 balls and a strike.
Knuckleball missed that time. You could see no spin on the baseball as it came out of his hand.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at third base and 2 runs in. Pitch number 48 for Reese Bober. It's a good one. But for Kansas, 2 runs, 2 hits, an error, and a man left. The bat of Cooper Hamblin, huge in this inning, plating 2. It's Nebraska 4-3 as we head into the bottom of the Nebraska third. John, let the scouting begin. Iowa preparing for its next matchup. That'll be on Thursday. Second game of the doubleheader, and we'll face the winner of this game between Kansas and Nebraska.
So you think they're scouting. They just don't like baseball on a beautiful afternoon and nothing else to do.
That too.
She likes baseball or likes the snow cone.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Plenty of good refreshments here. Brooks Paul set the lead off the bottom of the third. Hit sharply at second base, and Paul's going to make it to first. Well, that ball was a rocket.
It certainly was, and you could hear it from here, how it went off his right hand. He's trying to shake it off out there. Lovell's tough little kid.
Yeah, let's see if Wyatt Scales is okay. Appears to be. Still shaking that right hand, though. Goes as a base hit. Here's Easton Etherington. 2 strikes. Kansas with a 2-run third has tightened this game up. Let's see what Nebraska answers with in the bottom of the third. Snap thrown on to first base. And Paul back in there.
Pretty nice throw behind the runner. Good communication defensively. There has to be signals to let the first baseman know he's going to come down behind him.
And that's the idea, right? When throwing to first base, the throw needs to go behind the runner.
Sure. Yeah, you had a good angle to be able to throw it there. That was a perfect strike. Well timed.
1 out now in the inning. And Jarrett Moore will bat for Scout Simmons.
Hitting for Nebraska, number 15, Jarrett Moore.
Jarrett Moore in the loss to Missouri was a strikeout victim. And was 0 for 1 in the victory over Iowa, including a sacrifice bunt. Down in the count, 2 strikes with a man out here in the third. And now out on strikes.
Give up that hard hit ball there. He's battled back quickly to get a couple strikeouts and put Nebraska behind the 8-ball here with a runner on first base now with 2 outs.
Perry Swarm will be the pinch hitter for Bo Knapp. Kansas has only one player it has to substitute in the game today. And that is Brady Lindsey. Damon Woods is injured. Not the situation for Nebraska where it must substitute 4. And as John told you, 3 of its pitchers are ineligible today because of how many innings they have pitched to this point, how many pitches actually they have thrown.
That's Anderson, Iverson, and Wegner, the 3 pitchers that can't go. Now we're going to have a special pinch runner.
Taking over for Nebraska as a special pinch runner at first base, number 8, Bo Knapp.
Bo Knapp will be the pinch runner for Brooks Paul. Back to live activity. A ball and a strike on Perry Swarm.
Burdett continues to work fast and hard out there. That's 47 pitches for him, but good pop on the fastball. We can hear it up here in the press box, and good location again for the strikeout.
Winds up striking out the side now for the game. He's got 6. Nebraska got its leadoff hitter on board. That's as far as he got. Halfway home, Nebraska 4, Kansas 3. We're in the Midwest Regional where the winner gets to move on. The loser has been eliminated. Iowa's defending champion in the Midwest. Preceding Iowa was Missouri, South Dakota. Iowa won it the previous year after that, or before that, and Nebraska.
Pretty good parity in the Midwest when you look at those. Beside Iowa winning it 2 times, pretty good mixture. Get that every year. And same feeling this year. A couple different teams can come out of this Midwest region.
Iowa's still alive by way of its 2-0 win, John. That game we saw moments ago over Minnesota. By the way, on the hard hit ball in the previous inning was actually Colby Lovell at second base that was shaken up a little bit with his right hand. So apologies here on the identification. To the top of the 4th we go. Kansas still very much in this as Wyatt Scales leads off. And back to the pitcher, 1 out.
You know, Scout Simmons can field his position out there on the mound. He's been solid at the third base bag for the past 3 games, and pretty easy ball right back to him. Nice easy throw to first base for the out.
Kansas second baseman, number 4, Colby Lovell.
Here's the second baseman, Colby Lovell. And for Colby, his favorite pastime is fishing.
We've heard that from a couple.
Yeah.
Different fish, hunt, free time. A lot of major leaguers like that same thing.
Well, if Kansas hangs in there, as the ESPN crew will take over on Thursday in the semifinal activity, then we get some pictures from Colby, the fish that didn't get away. 1-1 to Colby out of the zone, 2-1. Blake Logan to follow. Big hits in this game for Kansas. A 2-run triple by Cooper Hamlin. And for Nebraska, a 3-run homer by Nolan Smith. Scout Simmons set to go to work on a 2-2 pitch with 1 out in the top of the 4th. We're in the Great Lakes region earlier tonight. Or later tonight, Indiana versus Michigan, 7 Eastern and 6 Central.
Here's the Kansas support. You can use that big sign to hide some of the sun, too.
Remember, the Indiana players were in attendance watching this game for a moment. Drop third strike, 2 outs. Blake Logan, 0 for 3 in the Midwest Regional. We have hit the 5 o'clock hour in Indianapolis.
And maybe the strongest sun right now. It's
agreed.
Shining in here in the press box, making things difficult up here to be able to see all these changes. But a
2
great
strikes.
day for baseball, though. Not bothering anybody around here. Outside of that, I'm loving it.
Weather just seems to be getting better and better every day, John. And just a tad warmer every day. Quentin Lunsford awaits the hit next.
They caught us when the sun went behind a cloud. We're hiding with the sunglasses on.
Strike 3 called. Good job by Scout Simmons. Up and down in the order Kansas goes, and it remains Nebraska 4 and Kansas 3. Known for its shrimp cocktail and its steaks and a whole lot of other things. World-renowned St. Elmo's, downtown Indianapolis. On a sun-drenched afternoon.
I don't know what looks better right now, the snow cone or thinking about that shrimp and steak.
I know which one's cheaper. Ryan Knipping stepping to the plate for Nebraska to start the bottom of the 4th. His team protecting a 1-1 lead. Now we've had some competitive baseball in our elimination games today. We've been around the ballpark in past years where those games can get out of hand. But in the opening act today, Kentucky needed 5 in the bottom of the inning, or top of the 6th inning, to win its game 10-5. And there were 2 runs on the top of the 6th in the Iowa win as well. Knipping starts the bottom of the 4th with a base hit up the middle.
Guess where that ball hit? Right out in front of the plate again. Sneaking back up the box. Well hit.
So Drew Iverson now will pinch hit. Getting a chance to play in this game. And let's see if the bunt is on as Nebraska tries to improve its position to a 2-run lead. Instead, he takes a high fastball up high. Don't forget, Indiana and Michigan, a little less than 2 hours on ESPN. Kansas trying to hold serve in the inning and keep Nebraska from expanding its lead.
That was Cade Burdett who actually called his catcher out there, wanted to talk with him. Maybe, I don't know what he's, maybe location, not sure. Coaches made it no indication from the dugout.
Count goes to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Burdett, the starting pitcher today, working at 56 pitches plus.
"56 pitches, Jim, working hard and fast, though, out there."
Yeah. Always a good idea when things start to warm up a little bit in the middle of a summer game. Behind the catcher, throw down to second base, not in time. So an important man in scoring position right now for Nebraska with nobody out. And strike 3 called. Burdett now for the game has struck out 7.
Seems like 7 strikeouts, been kind of a quiet 7 strikeouts. He's sneaking up on you, just like that fastball he has.
Well, Burdett was the same guy that walked 5 on Sunday. Today, just a walk, along with the 7 strikeouts. So maybe he thought his dad was serious, that if he didn't pitch well, he'd have to hitchhike.
Yeah, well, we mentioned the numbers he had in the state championship game where he struck out 11.
That's hit deep to right field and up against the fence. Going to score a run. And a stand-up triple. Grace Bober continues to have a white-hot bat. And Nebraska expands its lead now to 5-3.
Here's the hot bat. Fastball up and away, and he drives it to right field line again. Another one hopper off of the fence out there. And did you see Bober turn it on around those bases? I think he was thinking possibly inside the park home run, and he was close to trying to take that turn. His coach had to hold him up there. He wanted it.
Look how quickly he got to third base, John. Maybe the fastest player on the team. Braden Anderson. Base hit, run scored, sacrifice fly, 1 for 1. Top of the lineup, very productive today for Nebraska. Bober has driven in a run and scored. Anderson has driven in a run and scored. Nolan Smith in the 3 spot has driven in 3. One-two pitch. Strike 3 called. Big strikeout for Burdett, number 8. And here comes Nolan Smith. Well, considering the bat that Smith is carrying, going to consider walking him?
Well, at least it's going to have time to talk about it here, how they want to throw to this guy that's been productive up there. They're going to get a trip to the mound out here by their head coach, Brock Burdett. Let's talk to his son and see where they are.
Kansas far more competitive today than in the opening game, lost 9-0 to South Dakota. So let's see now what the decision surrounds and if they will actually go after Smith or put him aboard. And for the moment, they will challenge him. But may not give him a whole lot to look at.
Yeah, this is one of those unintentional, intentional possible walks here in this situation. Well, maybe not, but that's a tough thing to do in Little League, is the unintentional, intentional walk, because you've got to have pretty good control to just miss outside all day. You make a mistake to a guy like this, and he'll make you pay for it.
He already has a 3-run homer in the game back in the first. This one is going to stay in the yard. Inning over. Nebraska gets an insurance run on a triple by Reese Bober. who now in the tournament has 4 hits and 8 at-bats. After 4, Nebraska 5, Kansas 3. Productive first inning for Kansas began with a single by Eastern Wren, and then Cade Burnett brought him home to make it 1-0. But at the bottom of the inning with 2 men aboard, here comes Nolan Smith, and there goes the baseball. 3-1 after 1. Nebraska 4-1 after 2 in the third. Cooper Chamberlain gets 2 of those back with a triple all the way to the right field fence. That makes it 4-3. Nebraska has a run in the fourth, and that's where we stand now. In the top of the fifth of a 6-inning game, 5-3 Kearney, Nebraska. The winner is moving on to Thursday's activity to face Iowa. The loser brings its season to a close. So Kansas getting down to its last opportunities.
You said, Jim, this Kansas team today, do or die situation for them, and they've been battling all day trying to stay in this ball game, finding a way to maybe get a couple runs here with 2 more to go.
Well, I think Kobe Bryant, who started for the Lakers all those years, said it best. We're all fans, speaking in the media.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a fan of just some really good baseball, and also maybe some of the teams are a little bit overmatched being competitive, and I think that's happened today.
Yeah, I love their attitude and the way they come out here. And again, the number of guys to pull from. We mentioned at the top of the game, if this is something you're just hearing for the first, just 19 total players that this Kansas team can pull from to try to get together a team that can compete here at the regional. Not an easy ask, but they're coming here and fighting. They're scrappy, and they're right in this ball game here today.
Yeah, I like their manager, too. He's a man of few words. Although it was fun to talk to him today, had plenty to say about his son pitching. And the good sense of humor and the bond they share. 2-2 pitch.
And the reality of what it is on being here with the limited number of players to choose from and their options, and they're making the best of it.
Didn't Brock Burdett tell us as he coaches football, sometimes he's had as few as, what, 12 players out for that?
Yeah.
I think of 12 players, I think of a basketball roster.
Yeah.
Football is the last thing that would occur to me.
So many times you see parents willing to do whatever they possibly can to get their kids to a sporting event and multiple sporting events. In other cases, you don't have that support.
Or
and
parents decide that they're going to choose, you know.
Yeah, and coaches are willing to even drive the kid to practice if possible, if he's close enough to do that. That's just what these guys are willing to do.
Scott Simmons again, the 2-2 pitch. Toward first base, 1 out. Back to the Kansas top of the order for Eastern Wren. And Wren already has a hit and a run scored. Actually, he has scored twice in this game.
Now batting for Kansas, the shortstop, number 5, Easton Wren.
Wren's got good speed up there, and being a left-handed hitter has a step toward that first base box that the right-handed hitter would not have. Wren trying to get aboard and get that tying run to the plate, as it's starting to get a little late for Kansas and its chances to stay in the tournament. Ball and a strike. Drake Guyman would bat next. Cherokee Community Little League. Cherokee, Kansas, town of under 1,000.
Not wrong is it seemed like the third game in every day. It's just about this, maybe this time of day. Even the fans, you know, you've had a lot of excitement early in the day, late in the day. This is a tough grind. This is where you got to reach down and get a little bit more if you're one of the players out here trying to live to play another day.
Good save by Nolan Smith on that pitch. Maybe it's the fact that the heat just starts to turn up a little bit at this point. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Easton Wren, after making the pitcher Simmons work, is out on strikes, 2 outs.
Wren, after a pretty good battle up here, chases the ball down and away and just pulls off the lefty, not able to put the bat on the ball that time.
Last 6 Kansas batters have been retired, and 4 of them on strikeouts, the other 2 on infield outs. Kansas came out of the gates today swinging, putting together a run and 2 hits in the first, and then a couple runs and 2 hits in the third. Well, right now Simmons has got him off balance.
He certainly does. Fastball, breaking ball, changing it up, and but means good location.
Perfect inning for Scout Simmons. Back-to-back strikeouts. On to the Nebraska bottom of the 5th, middle of the order. And Kearney leads 5-3. Pretty outfield look of the ballpark. Let's talk big picture. Little League's international tournament begins with local leagues selecting all-star teams. About 7,000 leagues worldwide. First there's the district, then the section, then the state, province, or county tournaments, the regional, where we are located now, and then Williamsport, and the World Series. Where, oh, by the way, the Cardinals and the Pirates from Major League Baseball are going to make a cameo.
Nice.
Hang out with the kids for a while.
That'll be pretty special, not only for the kids. I think it's going to be pretty special for the big leaguers as well.
Oh, I would say. Brooks Paul starts the bottom of the 5th. Drake Guyman has moved from center to right. And Brody Lindsay is down center. Base hit, Brooks Paul. First hit of the game for him. And hit number 7 for Nebraska.
Good look at Brooks Paul as he stands on that first base bag here. Times it. Ground ball over the head of the pitcher out there, and he gets down to the first base bag. And I told him I'd say something positive about him today after the name drop yesterday. And good to see him get that hit.
Obviously, your words have motivated him.
I said, as a former first baseman, I can't let that go without straightening it out.
Easton Etherington at the plate. 1 for 6 in the regional with a run batted in. He has struck out twice today. Looking ahead to the Kansas 6th, middle of the order, which has done the most damage. Cade Burdett, Cooper Hamblin, Matthew Messer. Hamblin has that 2-run triple in the game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Right now the sun going in and out of the clouds. Indiana will bring a crowd tonight against Michigan. We'll have it for you on ESPN. On the corner, strike 3. Here's pitcher Scout Simmons.
74 pitches now for Burdett on the mound as he continues to keep his scheme in this ball game.
Has a chance to go the distance here if he's able to complete the inning and if Kansas is unable to rally. Ball and a strike. You know, if Kansas had faced Missouri, which was Burdett's wishes because of his familiarity and the fact he has friends there and plays on the travel team, wonder if changing the signals by way of Webb City would have mattered.
Good question.
Double play, ball to short. Short way for one. And a good play over at shortstop. That was not an easy play to handle.
Short hopper for Wren.
2 outs on the force out. Bo Knapp is the scheduled hitter.
Watch him come up with this. Not easy to get the short hop. Up with it and raced over to second base bag for the out.
Manager Etherington is out behind home plate. Now headed back to the third base position. Bo Knapp ready to step in. In the meantime, Burdett, who has thrown 78 pitches, wandering around the mound, and we have, looks like a challenge in effect. Except for the life of me, I'm not sure why. Force out at second base. Runner easily beat the throw to first. So this is questionable right here. At least that's why it's being challenged. And it looks like he just got his foot on there.
Wow. We're challenging everything now.
What do you think, John? Nitpicking? You could be honest here.
Yeah. I'm going to have to revisit that rule and be like, you get one challenge per 3 innings.
Not a bad idea, actually. See, in the National Football League, they can take away a timeout from you, and if you're unsuccessful a couple of times, you're out of challenges.
Well, we're being hard there, but a couple of the challenges have paid off for this team, and it showed in this ball game. A challenge was, or a call was overturned by the challenge, and it allowed the team to get a couple more runs.
Tell you what, if you're successful in the first couple of challenges, you get to feel pretty confident about using that vehicle replay.
The funniest thing is the reaction of the kids now. They know immediately. It's no longer arguing with an umpire. It's immediately turn to your coach and say, point to the replay booth.
Now, you don't think we'll ever get to the point, and this is radical thinking on the part of some, where we won't have a home plate umpire calling balls and strikes.
I hope we don't.
Who are you going to holler at?
Yeah. That's part of the game.
Again, the 1-2. Strike 3 called, inning over. Nebraska leads 1 man on base. Last chance for Kansas, and its best hitters coming up. 5-3 Nebraska. We invite you back in an hour and a half. It's Michigan and Indiana coming up in the Great Lakes. Teams from New Albany and Grosse Pointe. That's 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central will be the nightcap of our 4 games today. And our final elimination game today. Tomorrow will be a battle of winners. Top of the 6th. Can Kansas muster a rally here? Cade Burdett starts it off. He has scored a run. He has an RBI. He is 1 for 2 and 2 for 4 here in the regional. Well, to the credit of Kansas, after getting blown out in the first game, and ditto that today for Wisconsin. Really strong efforts in their follow-up games. Wisconsin was tied in its game 5-5. And right now, attention being directed toward Nolan Smith.
Yeah, that's right below us, and they're looking at that throwing hand for him. He's trying to squeeze it. Looks like they're looking at that left thumb area. How many times we talk about how tough these kids are behind the plate, all their nicknames of backstop and Iron Man, everything else. He fits the bill, and look at that. Snap the helmet back on and gut it out.
Well, you know, Scout Simmons appreciates him. So Smith will try to finish the game. First pitch of the 6th inning to Burdett was a ball. Kansas needs a couple of runs to keep its tournament appearance alive. Facing elimination here in the 6th and potentially final inning. 2 balls. Cooper Hamlin, who has tripled into, would bat next. Simmons from a full windup. 2-1.
Popping the mitt with the fastball that time.
You think about Wisconsin and that demoralizing loss to Ohio 22-4 on Sunday, and yet comes back today and takes Kentucky to the wire. It lost 10-5, and that game was 5-5 in the final inning. And ditto Kansas, 9-0 losers in its opener. Coming back today and fighting it out to the final inning with Kearney, Nebraska.
Yeah, that's why they're here. It was never an easy trip for any of these teams to get here in this state through their state tournament. Every time you look at the scoreboard and how close all those games were, it's always a struggle to get here and a bigger struggle to stay around.
Well, this youthful Cherokee, Kansas team, a Cinderella story because of its small population, has a man aboard in the top of the 6th. Cooper Hamlin represents the potential tying run. He'd love to repeat what he did a couple innings earlier with a triple to the fence. Strike 1. Simmons had started this inning having retired 6 straight with 4 strikeouts and 20 of 28 pitches. So the walk to start the inning, a little bit out of character. Towards center field, that's hit deep. It's going, it's going, it's gone! And the game is tied. How about that? Cooper Hamlin. A 2-run triple back in the 3rd. A 2-run homer here. And we're tied at 5-5.
Well, you said it, Jim. The possibility with him at the plate, down by 2. You make a mistake to that guy, and he's going to make you pay. And Hamlin just, that's about as deep as a home run as we've seen hit in both of these regionals. And watch the timing here as he just lays the foot down and gets a fastball, reaches out, and he knew immediately that that thing was out of here, along with all these Kansas fans.
And those fans in that Kansas dugout are alive and well right now. Brody Lindsay pinch hitting here. Kansas has gone to the wire and responded in the biggest inning so far. 0-2.
Just talking about the gutty performance, not giving up, how hard it was. Well, they don't want to go home. They want to stay here and play some more baseball, and I don't blame them.
And like Wisconsin, now in a 5-5 game in the final inning. Simmons responds with a strikeout.
Yeah, how many times have we seen it? You walk a leadoff hitter. How many times do they come around and eventually hurt you?
Yeah, I think most managers in all forms of baseball would say it's too much. Happens too often. I mean, the percentage is not overwhelming, but I bet if you talk to most managers, they'd probably say, oh, 80% of the time.
They'd probably say 100.
Yeah. I think most guys would rather be beaten by a couple of hits than a bomb or 3 hits in succession than
the
base
free
on
pass.
balls.
Yeah.
Second time today, Burdett has scored. And Hamblin's had a day. Homer and a triple and 4 batted in. Looking ahead to the Nebraska 6th. Bottom of the order leading off with Ty Renninger. Two outs.
Well, game after game, it seems like we are setting up for a walk-off in the bottom of the 6th.
Kind of neat, huh?
Can't get any better baseball-wise, competition-wise. We've been thrilled to see some great games here.
Calby Lovell at the plate. 12 strikeouts now for Nebraska pitching. But it's been the extra base hits that has killed Kearney. Both of them by Cooper Hamblin. Good for 4 of the 5 runs. Nebraska a strike away from the bottom of the 6th and a chance to win it there. Popped up. Short left field. Ball dropped. Kansas still alive here in the 6th. Easton Etherington was in possession for it, couldn't handle it.
Just a lazy fly ball to left field, as you said, just couldn't come down with it, and Kansas still alive, trying to find a way to push one more across home plate.
Blake Logan with 2 outs and a man aboard. Strike 1. No balls, 2 strikes. Inning over, but Kansas needing to, got to. Cooper Hamblin, without a hit coming into this game, 2-run triple and this 2-run homer. That's tied it at 5-5 between Kansas and Nebraska. Last of the 6th, despite giving up 2 in the top of the 6th, Nebraska can still win the game and eliminate Kansas from the tournament. Let's start with the bottom of the order, Ty Renninger, the second baseman who singled back in the 2nd and scored. Strike 1.
And this will be Burdett's only batter that he's going to be able to face here in the bottom half of the 6th. They're going to have to make a change, so he's hoping to get at least 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th before that change is made.
Ahead on the hitter, 2 strikes. Out on strikes, 1 out. Well, Cade Burdett has done Kansas and Cherokee Little League very proud today. Goes the distance as far as he can go anyway. Pitches into the 6th inning and will leave with the game tied. And will not be pitcher of record.
How about that? 11 Ks on the day, matches his state championship game with 11 strikeouts. We said at the top, if he can eliminate the walks, and he certainly did that. And with 11 Ks, he's getting a good hand from these Kansas fans here, deservedly so.
We'll step aside. 5-5, last of the 6th. Pitching change for Kansas. Manager Burdett expected a good game from his son and pitcher Cade Burdett. You know what, John? That's exactly what he got.
He certainly did, and that consisted of 11 strikeouts. As he continued to battle all day, we're thinking, well, maybe we won't see him in the 6th inning, but a 2-run home run in the top half of the 6th allowed him to come out and get the first out here in the bottom half of the 6th, and now he gives away to Easton Wren on the mound.
He will do his best to prolong the game at this point. He needs 2 outs to do that. As Luke Wegner steps to the plate, had a sacrifice bunt back in the 2nd. And the count is 2 balls, no strikes. Reese Bober would bat after him. Two and one. Now 3-1. And Wagner's aboard, representing the potential winning run.
And a dangerous hitter in Bober at the plate.
Bober has 4 hits and 8 at-bats in this regional. That includes a run-scoring triple. He's also scored 2 runs. Struck out with the bases loaded last night to end the game. Now with a chance to win it here. Look down to Sean Etherington, the manager and third base coach. That one gets away. And now into scoring position goes Renninger, where a base hit could win it. Bober up the middle. Everybody's safe on the overthrow. Here comes a runner, and the game is over. Tough loss for Kansas. Ty Renninger comes home, and Nebraska wins it 6-5. Moving on, and in the meantime has eliminated Kansas. Well, that's a tough ending for Cherokee Little League. After battling back in the top of the inning, but Kearney, Nebraska, able to find the winning combination in the last of the 6th. And John, here again is the play that decided it.
And you see the ground ball there, and a late throw over to first base. Wild, that allowed the run to come around, and you see the thrill of victory for Nebraska and kind of really the agony of defeat for Kansas as they were able to fight back and get back in this game, but give this team a lot of credit. As we talked before, not a lot to choose from a state to be able to bring a team here, but boy, they were competitive in this game. Congratulations on their season.
So a walk-off error in this instance produces the winning run. Kearney, Nebraska stays alive at 2-1, and now Cherokee, Kansas joins Coon Rapids, Minnesota on the road, both having been eliminated for records of 0-2. Let's take a look at what lies ahead, even though we have another game tonight between Indiana and Michigan. Hope you'll be with us at 7 o'clock. This is the Midwest Regional on Wednesday. Missouri against South Dakota, both are undefeated. Iowa against Nebraska on Thursday. That is an elimination game. And the Great Lakes region also playing a battle of undefeateds and a elimination game as well on Wednesday and Thursday. Another thriller here, John. That seems to be the MO on this Tuesday.
Hey, they're all coming down to the bottom half of the final, and it's been interesting and should be again tonight.
Enjoy your dinner. See you in a little bit more than an hour for Indiana and Michigan. For John Gregory, Jim Barber, thanks for joining us on ESPN.